there, this is Lisa Starr with another episode of StarrCast, where we speak with wellness warriors on their journeys to their current career. Today, our guest is Tara Grodjesk. She is the VP of Massage, Spa, and Wellness for Earthlight, who is a very popular maker of massage equipment and products. As they have acquired Tara, she is also the president and founder of Tara Spa Therapy, which is a line that's much loved in the spa and wellness industry for its Ayurvedic base of products that enhance massages and body treatments and home care for people. So we're very lucky to have Tara with us today. Welcome.
Thank you, Lisa. It's great to be here.
So Tara has been my friend for a while, I must confess, but I love to hear about her journey because she has done a lot with her career and is always so true to wellness, and it's the core of her being. So I thought Tara would share with us her journey from, when at what point in your life did you realize that you wanted to work in wellness in some capacity?
Oh, that's a great question, Lisa. I studied psychology in college, and I was studying social psychology at University of Michigan, and I
Mhm.
was so fascinated with why people behave the way they do,
That is
and
a fascinating topic.
right, and also how they're impacted by others. So social psychology was very, very fascinated how we're impacted by others. And then I got very interested in humanistic psychology, which is about human potential. And I came across Abraham Maslow's work on human
Mhm.
potential. And I actually did a 1 year of school at Santa Cruz, University of
Mhm.
California, Santa Cruz, UCSC. And I got my
The
degree
banana
from,
slugs.
yes, you know.
I do.
Um, I got my degree from University of Michigan, but I did a year at UCSC because I wanted to focus on humanistic psychology and human
Mhm.
potential. And then out of college, I was debating what I would do next. And I had assumed that maybe I would become a psychotherapist, maybe I would become an art therapist because I loved art so much. But I wasn't so interested in analyzing children's drawings and their feelings about their parents or
Mhm.
trauma,
Mhm.
through their art. I was interested in creative expression and how, what a wonderful therapy that is for peace of mind and well-being. And so I thought, well, maybe should I go into art
Mhm.
therapy? Should I become a psychotherapist? So after I graduated from college, I took a month backpacking trip across Mexico, and I was trying to sort out what my next steps would be. I came back to Santa Cruz, and I actually stumbled into a massage program and a free lecture in the community center on Ayurveda. Okay, this is way back, a few decades. Ayurveda, I didn't know what it was. It was from India. There was something about the elements, 5 elements, and but I was fascinated, right?
Of course,
So
it's fascinating topic.
so I ended up attending this holistic health institute. It was one of the first holistic health institutes in the country, and there I studied massage therapy. My teacher was a structural body worker. I learned who was several generations from Rolfing techniques, but I learned
Mm.
structural body and 12 session series. I learned polarity therapy, which is one of my favorite energy balancing techniques that I incorporate into a lot of signature treatment protocols because it's so deeply relaxing and balancing. And I studied herbology and nutrition. I got certified as a holistic health educator, and also as a massage therapist. And then my teacher asked me if I would help open up another school, help found another school with him up at a hot springs in Northern California. So I did help do that. I was seeing clients individually, and I discovered that I really had an ability to teach and share
Mhm.
the information. I had a great passion for it. I really, really enjoyed it. So that's where my teaching career began. And as you know,
Interesting.
I've been a trainer for the spa industry, for more than 25 years. We've
Mhm.
trained thousands and thousands of therapists who have touched hundreds of thousands, if not millions of individuals. And that's what I wanted to do. I was trying to figure out what I could do to impact social change. I know that sounds really crazy, but I was trying to figure out what I could do to make a difference in the world. And I thought, art therapy was so specialized,
Mm-hmm.
but if I could touch individuals and help to open them up, so that they could be better individuals and feel more balanced in their lives, then they would be touching other individuals and they would be touching other individuals. So whether it was teachers or doctors or, you name it, whoever I was working with on the massage table, I had the opportunity to impact in a positive way. And then they would extend that out to their family, their friends, their coworkers, and so on. And honestly, that was the vision for me to make a difference in the world and impact social change. I know it sounds kind of crazy, but
No, it
now,
sounds I never knew that it came through touch though, and the desire to touch others, right? Literally and figuratively. So you're correct, of course. I mean, how can we touch more people? And you said, I can touch them, that's the skill that I have. So
yeah.
interesting how it unfolds. And as you said, I mean, you've had an impact on thousands of people this way.
So I would just add, and yes, I'm so proud and honored that, I've been able to, and with my small training team, touch so many professional, practitioners in the industry who have touched so many. And that's what moves me and, keeps me going. I would just add that, from my work as a massage therapist and as a holistic health educator, and at that time, who was saying the word holistic health,
Mm-hmm. No, it
um,
wasn't a word then.
right? And who was saying wellness. But I then my parents were like, if you're interested in I was natural medicine, herbalism, if you're interested in medicine, you should be going to medical school, right?
Mm,
But I didn't want to go to traditional medical school. So I researched and I ended up in Santa Fe, New Mexico at the College of Natural Medicine that had five divisions
mm-hmm.
in the institute. So there I studied Ayurvedic medicine for 3 years with clinical practice with Dr. Vasant Lad, who is now has his institute in Albuquerque, New Mexico. So I studied Ayurvedic medicine. I studied nutrition. And so, but I also began my private practice,
Mm-hmm.
and I was also teaching yoga therapy. So I was integrating the massage therapy sessions with yoga postures and stretches for my clients so that they could do something on their own in between the sessions to
Well, you were
benefit.
really integrative back when that wasn't a thing.
It's fun. Yes, exactly. And I actually called it physical integration
Mm-hmm.
um, at the time. I was in Santa Fe for 3 years, studying and in practice, right, working side by side with people that were studying acupuncture and herbalism. So the college was just incredible, sharing with your, you know, colleagues and so
Must
on.
have been a great time in your life.
It was. I have a deep connection with that time. But the funny thing is, after that, I moved to New York City. I don't
That's
know
a
if
bit
you,
of a change.
yeah, talk about radical from 7,000-foot elevation in high desert of Santa Fe, teaching yoga and aerobics and
Mm-hmm.
yoga therapy at the College of Natural Medicine and private practice. I opened up an office in New York and in New Jersey, and it was called Bodywise, the Center for Relaxation and Rejuvenation. And I know this really dates me, but that was like in the mid 80s,
Mm,
and massage was still a dirty word in New York.
mm-hmm.
It was, people asked you what you did, and I would say I was a massage therapist, and they would look at me funny and say,
Uh-huh.
"Oh, you're a masseuse," and not really understanding what
Not
it was.
understanding the body worker. Well, why New York? Why cross country like that?
Well, it was kind of thing where I felt that again, how could I impact a larger number of people? And
More people in New York than Albuquerque for sure.
yeah, I started teaching stress management and other, sort of health and wellness practices for, Wall Street brokers
Mm,
and the lawyers of the city of New York,
mm-hmm.
legal counsel for the city of New York, and legal counsel for the Museum of Modern Art. So I had some amazing clients that I worked with, and I felt I made a big difference there. But I definitely, at some point after 5.5 years, needed to get back out west. But I would say that It grounded me. I learned a lot about business. Obviously, I was a sole proprietor. I had
Mm-hmm.
2 clinics going on. I learned a lot about what people's needs were at the time and the levels of stress that people were carrying
Mm-hmm.
and how I could make a difference in their lives. But I realized that I could only reach so many people in a day or a week in my private practice. I could only touch so many people, what,
Mm-hmm.
25
You're
people?
one person, right? You can 8 people a day, and there you go.
Right. So that's when I started deciding. I opened up the original issue of Spa Finders magazine
Oh,
and I
funny.
started looking at the spas around the country. And I thought, okay, if these are supposed to be the epitome of health and wellness facilities, I want to see what they're doing and see if I want to open up a facility like that one day somewhere. So I traveled to spas, the top spas around the country at the time, and realized that there was a great need for holistic approach.
Mm,
At that time, it was European influenced
right.
spas
All
of
the
about
menus were European facials, right? Like whatever
exactly
that was.
right with European skincare products, blue and white containers, white with
Mm-hmm.
gold and blue and
Yes.
silver and all that. And but it was very oriented either a fitness, strong, fitness department and European skincare. And so for me to come in at that time with this holistic health background was unheard of almost. And I was able to introduce actually Ayurvedic inspired treatments that are still going today. We still have some of the spas that are doing the same Ayurvedic rejuvenation therapies that I taught.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So you
So
did have you did have an impact on many people.
yeah, so yeah, incredibly rewarding and at a time when no one knew what Ayurveda was. Now, of course, I've branched at that time many years ago extended into aromatherapy and aroma wellness lifestyle and all of that I was trained in, but if you can imagine, no one could utter the word Ayurveda. I would
Mm-hmm.
always say, people would say, are you what, are you
Are you?
crazy? And really helping to bring, because Ayurveda is a holistic healing system, and so to be able to bring that into spa at a time where it was about beauty and pampering, European influenced
Mm-hmm.
spa style programs, it was, I guess that's where I got people looking at me as a pioneer and a visionary,
Well, for
honestly.
sure, you're right. It was all about the European influence at that point, and no one was looking eastward to the traditional therapies like TCM or Ayurveda. I mean, that was not here yet.
That's right, right.
You were definitely a
So
pioneer.
very rewarding. And then what happened was I traveled to spas all over the country, was training therapists and estheticians and spa professionals in different treatment protocols and different modalities that were fairly new at that time. And so we were able to reach, again, so many, by putting treatments on the menu, right?
Mm-hmm.
And training the therapists for that, we were able to really make a big impact, and not just in Ayurveda, but in authentic aromatherapy and regional specialties and staying healthy through the season. So it was really, again, a holistic approach. And I think certainly, I was one of the first to, not the only one, of course, but one of the first to bring in that true holistic, integrative, as you said, um, approach to the treatment menus.
So was this when Tara Spa Therapy, the company, started, when you started making products? When did that happen?
Yeah, so I started training and developing treatment protocols and treatment menus, and even getting into some spa design and development. And at the time, I represented other products that I found in the natural products industry that were nowhere to be found
Mm.
in the spa world. And so I would approach these natural products companies and say, I would like to bring your products and create treatments around that, for the spa programs. And they didn't have a clue about spas. So they were like,
Mm.
sure, take it, do whatever you can for us. And I helped put some of these natural products companies on the map at the
Mm-hmm.
time. And they were well loved because of natural, organic,
Mm-hmm.
pure formulations. And so I was really helping to drive bringing more natural and organic into spa treatment programs with products, and of course retail home care. And so at some point in time, actually, my husband said, it's time for you to create your own product line.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a very difficult time, Lisa. I think but my husband was diagnosed with a
Mm.
glioblastoma, grade 4 brain tumor. And I was 4 months pregnant when he was
Mm.
diagnosed. And it was almost like, I could get emotional about it. It's been a lot of years, but it was like he was imparting something to me and infusing me with some energy to launch my own product line, an umbrella of Tara Spa therapy
Mhm.
products. Um, he sort of gave me that gift and left
Right.
that with me and inspired me and encouraged me and supported me to make that happen. And literally, as he was transitioning in life, through his illness, I was birthing
Mm.
not only my son, but
Right.
birthing this product line. And it was named Tara, not for me personally, I should say that. I know it sounds like it's me personally, but it was named for Tara in Sanskrit, that means star.
Mm.
And Tara was the first physical manifestation of the Divine Mother in Hindu tradition. Tara is the first physical manifestation of the Divine Mother. So it's divine energy, compassion, beauty, illumination.
Did your parents know that when they named you Tara?
Oh, well, that's another story. The story is that that was a name that Dr. Ladd gave to me
Hmm.
in my schooling for Ayurvedic medicine. He came from India, came from Pune. He had a hard time remembering the American names.
Sure.
And so he would give the students Sanskrit names, so it was
Hmm.
easier for him to remember. But some people had, Jay Shri and Guru Dev, and
Hmm.
like,
You
and
had a simpler one.
he gave me Tara, and it was a gift, and it meant star, and it was inspiration to me, and or aspiration for me,
Hmm.
illuminating and inspiring. So it stuck, and I kept it.
That's amazing. I never really realized that. So here you are, a single, suddenly widowed mom of a small baby, starting a company, trying to find your way. What were those next years like?
Very, very tough, and it certainly, I have to say, it takes a village. I could never have done it without my
Mhm.
friends and family and the people, in my community, honestly, because in the spa business, as you know, it requires travel. You, the
Mhm.
world traveler. um, so to train therapists and estheticians at spas required travel, and here I had a little baby, and
Mm.
my husband was very ill and then ultimately passing, and I could not have done it without the support, of my team and my
Mhm.
community. Absolutely. But I did feel driven in some way to carry forward this
Mhm.
mission and this vision, and I felt that Mark infused me with that energy, to make that happen. And it was almost like a mandate,
Mhm.
imperative for me to carry on, even at times that I thought were not possible. And the spa community was extremely supportive. So I really feel like it was a miracle. It was completely
Mhm.
miraculous that I was able to launch the Tara brand at that time of such great loss, to birth, this beautiful thing.
Well, the
Yeah.
stars aligned, as it were, in the end, for you to move forward. So, this is what, 30 years later, your brand is growing stronger than ever. You've just had a revamp, which is beautiful.
Thank you.
What's next?
Well, I am so grateful to Earthlight and Living Earth Crafts, the company that I merged with, because Jim Chenevy, as you
Mhm.
know, the CEO, really saw the potential of the Tara brand and the message that we wanted to impart, and really offered me the platform, to
Mhm.
have a bigger platform and a bigger voice. And that's what I was looking for. How could I reach a larger number of people, right? And how could I get this message across? And Lisa, I believe that the message of self-care, self-love, nourishment, balance, holistic well-being is in the bottle. I believe that the products are the vehicle for the message. And so it's not about selling retail product for me. It's about the message that is carried through those
Mhm.
products, with the quality and integrity of the formulations. And what do we do with self-care products, whether we're applying to our face and to our bodies, as we shower, after we shower, we're giving energy to ourselves. So I believe that the practice and the rituals that we talk about in spa, right? But the greatest ritual of all is the self-care practice and how we do it. So when we're applying the oils, when we're inhaling the aromatherapies, this is a way that we give to ourselves, center and ground ourselves so that we can be more clear and conscious and caring and compassionate when we are out in the world. That is why, to me, I get goosebumps when I talk about it. The Tara brand is so important, such an imperative for me, because it's not about me, Tara, or
Mhm.
how much we're going to grow. Obviously, that's important from a business perspective. It's about this message and touching millions of people with a message, but with quality, pure quality, integrity products, formulas that we take in to our
Well,
bodies.
it's an important point, Tara. When we do training in spas, we always talk about what we teach the guest, right? I mean, because we have that guest for an hour or two if we're lucky. And how much difference can you really make in someone's life in an hour or two? Yes, something for sure, but to send them home with a product or a piece of education or something they learn to do for themselves, or
Yes,
all of those combined, that they
right,
then begin to do every day and receive benefits, and of course improve the physiology of what they're working on, but also their mental state.
right.
Then, as you say, now the message is really getting through, and that connects the guest back to the spa every day when they use that product. I mean, there's no better reason to promote retail. It's
Yeah.
almost the end result, right? I mean, you're pushing the message and the result, and it happens to be through retail, but or home care, as we like to say.
Yes. That retail word, is I think therapists stumble with it,
Mhm.
they have resistance to it, but the home care they can relate to. And I totally, totally agree. I always say that in my trainings, Lisa, that, there's only so much we can accomplish in the 50 or 60 or
Mhm.
80, 90 minutes, right? But what is it we can impart to the clients for them to go home with and continue the practice? That's what I believe in.
Well, you've obviously impacted many, Tara. And in the middle of all of this, while you're impacting thousands of people with your amazing products, that wasn't enough for you. You said, I think we need to have a spa association around sustainability. So tell us about that.
Well, Green Spa Network it was seeded by a small handful of spa, industry visionaries, of course, including Michael Stusser from Osmosis,
Mhm.
Loma Alexander. There were several individuals that really saw the vision. Actually, Loma and I were at iSpa listening to Deborah Zike from Rancho La
Mm.
Puerta,
Mhm.
telling the entire iSpa audience, buy in bulk, don't buy small containers. She was
Uh-huh.
talking about the real basics many, many years ago. We walked out of that session and started talking about it. Like, we have to do something. There were
Mhm.
so many plastics and small containers and excess. Spa was about, at that time, luxury and excess
Exactly.
instead of minimalism, right? And so we felt we needed to do something. Michael Stusser was really the driving force to keep that seed going, and ultimately it evolved from a little group called Healing the Waters to Green Spa Network.
Mhm.
And so, being a co-founder of Green Spa Network, I poured a lot of my heart and soul into that, to the neglect of my company for
Mhm.
a while, because I believe so strongly that our industry really needed to take a hard look at our waste,
Mhm.
excess approach, excessive plastics, water usage, all the things that we know in spa operations that
Well, you started with a small group of people. I can remember one of the first meetings I went to. I think it was in Austin, and we had, 30 people in the room or something. And now, how many members does the Green Spa Network have?
I think that there's several hundred members now,
Mm-hmm.
and there's a small core of dedicated sponsors, and those are the suppliers and resource members that um, really want to do better in their own, manufacturing practices and their social responsibility and
Mm-hmm.
so on. So, it takes it's not just the suppliers, of course, doing the right thing, but it takes the spas making better choices. And what we
Mhm.
were trying to accomplish was to show decision makers in spa and hospitality that you could make better choices and it didn't have to cost more, that there was an
Mhm.
ROI for making those better choices. We see it in some of the big brands, not in the spa industry, but Patagonia, for
Sure.
example, just so many great brands that show that social responsibility, environmental, responsibility, eco consciousness really does pay off,
Mhm.
in your business.
Well,
And
the
so,
Green Spa Network has an amazing website for those of you that haven't been there with many tools and resources to help you on that journey to become green. It's difficult to know what to do first, right? Because you've got the internal practices of your business and you've got the products that you're
yeah,
using. But the Green Spa Network website is a big help.
it is a great resource, and there's a great team, that has been working to carry this forward
Hmm.
and our reach and make it easier, as you said, Lisa, very comprehensive, step by step, so it's not overwhelming. And spa managers, operators are inundated with so many day-to-day tasks, so it sometimes feels daunting to say, okay, we're going to become more sustainable. But I really do believe Green Spa Network, and the website has incredible resources to make it easier for you to take those steps on the path. And that was the point, steps on the path. You didn't have to be all the way down the spectrum, perhaps, but can you take some basic steps?
Right. Well, Tara, along the way, you have inspired many people. In 2017, you were awarded the Visionary Woman of the Year from American Spa Magazine. And then you merged your company with Living Earth Crafts, Earthlight. And what's next? What do you see post pandemic? What do you think the spa industry is going to look like?
Wow, that is a huge question, Lisa. And so clearly, I'm not finished with my work. Some of the work I'm doing with Earthlight, I should share, is to help cultivate massage therapists, um, to grow their businesses and their revenue opportunities. Because I experienced after 10, 12 years, the physical toll it took
Hmm.
on my body to do that kind of work. And is it sustainable? So, that personal sustainability is really important as well in a long standing
That's a
career.
great point.
And so my part of my mission, which our CEO, Jim Chenevy, shares with me, is to support massage therapists in growing their business and their revenue opportunities through retail, and that home care recommendation and practice that estheticians have been trained in school
Hmm.
to do, that
Hmm.
we know you can get one facial and have incredible, deep cleansing, extra hydration, nourishment, everything you get from the facial, but you have to have a regimen at home
Hmm.
to extend the benefits of the results. So why would it be any different in massage and body work? How could it be any different?
Right. It's
So
just more skin. It's just in a different spot. Right.
right. So estheticians are trained that way, and massage therapists have not been as well trained in school
Hmm.
to think beyond the treatment, the 50, 60 minutes, and what is important to recommend to the client to extend the benefits. And that's not just for hydration and nourishment of the skin, it's for the kink in the shoulder
Hmm.
and the pulled hamstring or the stress levels. So there are many, many products and tools that spas have on their shelves in the retail boutique that therapists have a responsibility, I believe, to be recommending to their clients to use in between their sessions, or after they depart from that spa.
Or even a
So
warm pack, right? Or a candle
exactly,
or something that
exactly.
sort of brings you back to that spa
An
moment.
eye pillow, like you said, a hot pack, anything like that. Very, very simple. So Jim and I have this mission to really support the massage therapy community in, growing their opportunities to, grow their retail revenue opportunity. But really, it's that home practice, that self-care practice that we want to impart to the individuals that they're touching,
Hmm.
right? So that's the next step for, I mean, that's the work that, well, what I'm working on right now.
Are
with
you
their
seeing spa guests returning to spas? What have you been seeing as you've been traveling, at
Oh
least around
yeah,
the
great.
Western US?
Yes, great question. So I've stayed pretty well. I mean, you are a super connector. You do amazing work
Thank you.
connecting and informing and getting information out to people. I've kept a good hand on the pulse nationally, and I will say that the spas that were partially open, let's say they were only allowed to be open 25% or 50% capacity, were maxed out
Hmm.
at that capacity. So across the board, spas had the demand. The spas in Colorado were saying they were busier. They had the busiest summer they ever had. So the demand is definitely there. And as the spas open more fully, the demand is there. I totally believe that people have recognized the importance of wellness, their health and wellness, the importance of recovery from trauma and stresses and anxiety that we have endured this last year. And I think that as long as spas continue to evolve, um, with the many layers and facets of,
Hmm.
obviously beauty and health and wellness, but as long as spas continue to evolve on the wellness spectrum, I think that their success is, I don't want to say assured because it has to do with proper management, which you're the expert in.
Oh, thank you.
But I think that um, if we're not moving towards wellness, we're not evolving and growing in the direction we need to. And that wellness word we know is overused. But it is, I would just say, I don't think we can avoid it. It used to be salon, and then it was salon and spa, and then it was
Hmm.
spa and wellness.
Hmm.
It is an overly used word, but to the consumer, to the mainstream market, that is what they're looking for. And they have discovered that more than ever now during, the pandemic.
No, it's so true, Tara. We need to speak the language that they speak and the words that are familiar to them. I can remember last summer before reopenings, and we were all just, what will happen? Will people be afraid to come back, to be touched, to be in a room with another human? And we were just so happy to see that the opposite was true. As you say, the awareness of the role that people play in their own wellness has become apparent. And I've seen the same. I mean, the spas, my spa consulting clients that have reopened have all been absolutely jammed, every appointment, which is great. How long will it continue? We can't say, but we do have the consumer's attention in the moment.
Totally. And it is an essential, right? We've been saying
Hmm.
that for a lot of years,
Hmm.
that spa was an essential. It's not just something you do on your birthday or your anniversary,
Yeah.
but it is an essential. And now I just think that, this has been a reality check for people, for
Hmm.
many people, to say that it is an essential, and it does need to be integrated in our everyday. And that's why what we impart to the client to go home with in their self-care practice is so vital. Because I always have said, I have a mantra: living wellness is about what you do every day.
Hmm.
And it is about what you do every day. So we do a greater service to our clients when we impart that kind of message, that
Hmm.
yes, you need to come to us, right, for specialty and expertise, in those techniques and treatments. But what they do every day is what carries them forward.
Well, it's such a cliche to say it, but you hear it on the airplane when the oxygen mask comes down, take care of yourself before others, right? And I think that we've reached consumers to where they know that they need to take care of themselves. But what does that involve, right? And so people are learning that, oh, when I sleep well, when I move my body, when I eat correctly, I feel better, I have more energy, and the spa and the wellness centers do play a role in that. So I agree we have an exciting future, and I'm hoping that others are inspired to join us by our chats of the journeys of those that have gone before. Thank you again, Tara, for joining us and for the amazing work you've done touching thousands in your journey.
Oh, thank you so much, Lisa. It was a pleasure. And you are an amazing woman.
Oh,
I'm so inspired by you and the work that you do.
oh, that's very sweet. Thank you. Okay. Well, have a great day.
Thank
And
you.
everybody else, tune in for the next edition of StarrCast.